G'day guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel, Nintendo Down Under. My Nintendo 64 Kiosk. I acquired this about 3 years ago. A very challenging, interesting time of my life. And the way I got it was pretty crazy as well. This is a story that I've never shared really with anybody before. I've spoke about details, but the whole story, what happened in my life at the time. So I'm gonna get pretty personal here, pretty deep. I'll start, like I said, 3 years ago. I always wanted a Nintendo 64 Kiosk machine for my games room at the time. And once I've also told the story, by the way, I'll get the camera and I'll do a better viewing so you can see the whole kiosk, its features. I'll show you about the EverDrive cart, but I'll tell you the story first. So yes, 3 years ago, the Nintendo 64 Kiosk came up, and I was like, wow, I really want one. But it was very pricey, very expensive, so I held off at the time. At the same time, I was also saving for an engagement ring for my partner at the time. We've been together for a couple of years, and she hinted wanted to get married, and I thought, well, you know, this is probably the right time in my life to do it. So she went away for work for a while, so I was saving up, putting a deposit down this ring, paying it off. So I definitely couldn't afford to buy a Nintendo 64 Kiosk machine. But in saying that, the owner of the kiosk machine, the seller, kept dropping his price pretty quickly. After like a day, they're $200 off. Another day, another $100 off. There was real no patience about it. He was just dropping it really fast. The problem was I was living in Sydney at the time, and it was in Melbourne, so I had to drive all the way to Melbourne to get it. It's a big machine. I don't have a car to fit it in, so there was a lot of logistic problems there as well, even if I did want to buy it. My partner at the time just came back from her work trip, and just before she actually came back, things were getting a bit weird for a couple of weeks there. I was like, what's going on here? Long story short, I'm not going to get into that sort of thing. Basically, after a couple of years, she decided that, you know, to part ways, didn't want to be with me anymore. And it was quite difficult because I just bought an engagement ring because I thought we were pretty solid. I was pretty about to commit to this girl. And look, do you know what? I don't hold grudges against her. That's fine. That's her choice. Obviously, I was very upset at the time. But life's too short to hang on to grudges like that. She's got her own life now. All the best to her. And it worked out well for me because now I've got my amazing partner who I love dearly. But yes, that's very deep. So yeah, basically I had to go back and return this ring, which was probably the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in my life. Return an engagement ring and get my money back with this lady who's been helping me for the week. How excited we've both been, and then bang, yeah, had to return the ring. So I had all this money that I've been putting aside all of a sudden, and I really needed something to pick myself up. I was pretty down at the time, pretty upset, so I really wanted to do something for myself. And again, this machine, like every day, kept dropping in price. It got really like crazy cheap. But again, I had to travel 9 hours in the car. I had to like hire a van because logistically I did not have room, like I said before. So I inquired about hiring a van. I did hire a van, and I thought it was the perfect time just to get out on the road, get away for a couple of days and go driving. So I ended up purchasing this, saying, yep, I'm going to come down to Melbourne and pick it up. The guy was like, yeah, fantastic, get down here as soon as you can. I pretty much the next day picked up the van after work at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, got in the van, started driving towards Melbourne, which was like, yeah, I said 9 hours drive. Because I left so late in the afternoon, it took me a long time to get there. And when I got close to my destination, the weather was really bad as well. It was windy, it was rainy, but stubborn me at the time, just like stuff for I'm a pro driver, I can just keep driving in this weather without slowing down, which I did. There's a few hairy moments, but yeah, I was also pretty upset at the time, so I didn't give a shit. I was just going to get this kiosk machine. Got to this bloke's house really late, and when I got there, the address he gave me was very interesting. The house was pretty trashed. The front yard was destroyed. There was alcohol cans everywhere. I was like, geez, am I being set up here? I've been driven 8 hours to get something that's not really there, just to be robbed or who knows what. So I got there and I saw the bloke, and like, you know, I don't like to judge people's choices in life, But you know, he's come out and he's very skinny, hair was gone, teeth were pretty bad, had pick marks all over him, so you could tell he was quite heavily into drugs. And he was actually quite honest with me too, and I said, you know, wow, you got a great machine, and you just kept dropping the price. And he flat out honestly said to me that yes, this is basically, I need my fix. You know, I'm selling this because I need money for my fix, which was yeah, I guess really upsetting at the time, that he's just selling all this stuff and selling great pieces really fastly, really cheaply, just because, you know, he needed his fix on whatever he was on. So yeah, look, you know, he was an okay guy, but to be honest, it was dark. I'm in a place I have no idea I've been before. I was tired, obviously, from driving all that way. I really wanted to get this Kiosk Machine in the van and get out of there. So yeah, he helped me get the Kiosk Machine in the car. And yeah, I had to bank transfer him the money for it. But basically, he wouldn't let me leave the premises until that money cleared too. And I was like, well, here, like, I got proof, here it is. You know, he's got my number, he's got my name, like, you know. And then I saw his partner came out, she was pretty rough as well. Again, I don't want to judge people, I don't know them that well and their life choices, but yeah, it was a really rough place to be. So, as you can imagine, I was pretty excited to get out there. He finally accepted that yes, I wasn't dodgy, the money would be going to his bank. And yeah, I have the Kiosk Machine. So I got it for a good price. I had to get it for a really good price because I had to spend, you know, money on hiring a van. And when you hire a van, you got to pay, you got to fill the petrol right up as well. So there's money there as well, per Ks, kilometers, stuff like that, miles if you're in America or whatever. You got to pay per that. So it can be a bit of an expensive trip. You got to get food along the way. I had to stay in accommodation. I picked this really cheap place. And I tell you what, I felt so disgusted. I was so happy to get out of there because when I went, it was a really run down, like back of a pub sort of place. I remember laying on the bed, and I just sunk into it, and the mattress just like wrapped around me, and I was like, oh my God, like this has been laid in by like a million people. And I'm a bit of a germaphobe. I was so keen just to not move, hurry up and fall asleep, and hurry up and wake up in the morning, get the hell out of there. So I did. Woke up early, got on the road. Now I know the main way to go from Melbourne to Sydney is basically up just the main big highway, but for some reason my Google phone, when I got about halfway, told me to take a left up this different highway. So I did, and I kept following my phone for a long time, but for some reason the address didn't put my address, it put something further farther home than I live. So I ended up going 8 hours out of the way into some, by the got desert roads, it got so hot. So I got a bit lost on the way back too, so that was frustrating. I'd been driving for 2 days straight. I really wanted to get home for some more clean clothes. Wanted to get this Kiosk Machine out of the van, because obviously a long way, bumps, it's rattling in the back and I didn't want to damage it. So yeah, look, that's basically that time of my life, you know. I picked up the Nintendo 64 Kiosk Machine for a good price from a bloke who, you know, needed money for drugs. Yeah, you know, obviously my relationship just ended very quickly out of nowhere. And yeah, so that was pretty full on. But yeah, so very different. I normally like to do my unboxings and have fun to information, but I thought I'd open up a bit more to the people that stick around, basically watch all my videos all the time, just to get to know me a bit better as well. You know, that behind the camera, there's a person who has a life. But anyway, let's get to the fun stuff now. That's the deep and meaningful and the story stuff done. Let's get to the actual Kiosk Machine itself. So I'm going to be very rough, I'm not going to pause this. I'm just going to take the camera straight off the tripod. And we're going to get a closer look at this machine. So that's my EverDrive cart that's plugged in to my Nintendo 64 Kiosk Machine. So that's preloaded with every single Nintendo 64 games. So I'll get my Nintendo 64 controller, and I'll go down to, say, hang on, wrong controller. Whoops. I'll go down to ROM, click ROM, and then it's alphabetical order. You can pick any game. So, and it's got every single Nintendo 64 game. I'll just pick one. I'll pick GoldenEye. There we go. Select and start, and it will load GoldenEye, and away you go. So the volume's down this thing at the moment, so you can't really hear it. But yeah, so the features, obviously it's got its Nintendo 64 light. I've been saying for a long time I want to get this fixed and still haven't done it. So the lights go behind there, just slide in it. It's got the cage that goes around it. Apologies, it's a bit dark. So sometimes when you find these Nintendo 64 kiosks, which is very rare obviously, sometimes they're missing the cage. Sometimes they're missing the light. They're missing the nice dome that goes over the top of the Nintendo 64. Some of the controller arms are missing, or like the stickers on the back, on the side are damaged. Some kiosk machines come with these stickers like 3D printed, like they come off. Mine don't, so I'm not sure if this is original or if those 3D prints are original. So if someone has one or knows, please pass on information. Would love to know. But yeah, basically this is my Nintendo 64 kiosk machine. Crazy story how I got it. Means a lot to me. Love the machine. A lot, obviously. It's one of my favorite pieces in the room. People love coming over and playing it, and yeah. Also, just found out today that the coral pink Nintendo Switch Lite is going to come to Australia on the 24th of April. So excited about that, because it was just announced that Japan and North America are getting it, and I was looking on how am I going to get a copy here, looking on Amazon. We went to Amazon.com in the US and clicked on it, but said no, don't sell to Australia. So I was like, oh, it sucks. But all prayers been answered. The Nintendo Switch Lite Pink Coral is coming to Australia, so I'm going to get that straight away, unbox it, put it with the rest of my Switch Lites. Can't wait for that one. I'm really excited. I should have some other exciting unboxings coming up soon, so stay tuned for that as well. We've got the Animal Crossing New Horizons game and console coming out soon as well, so plenty happening moving forward. If you haven't already, guys, don't forget to like me on Facebook, Nintendo Down Under. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Nintendo Down Under. Thank you very much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and take care.